Ghost Wolf Live. So, right off the top, I'm going to tell you about why I'm doing tonight's show. Now, normally, those that have listened to me for a while know that the topic I usually talk about is something having to do with the paranormal. However, tonight's show is just a little bit different. Right before I did this show tonight, I watched a Facebook, what do you call it, a video, I guess it's like a podcast basically, but it's video, I can't think of the name, but, and some of you may have even seen the same thing tonight, Tia Torres of Villalobos Rescue in Louisiana of pit bulls and parolees fame, was letting everybody know what's going on. Basically, I'll cut it down to this. She was on Animal Planet for like 12, 13 years, I think. And then an executive or executives, whichever, from Discovery Channel said, hey, we're going to move you to Discovery Channel. And they started filming, and then, oh, no, we're going to move you back to Animal Planet. So, the current season is going to be this Saturday. They're 2-hour episodes, and there's only going to be 6 episodes in the season. And after that, they don't know what's going on, if they're going to be filming anymore, if they're going to be on TV anymore, which sucks because that's been like the how they kept the rescue going. They're basically using their paychecks from the TV show to fund the rescue. So, if there's no more TV show, they're going to be relying on people to donate. In fact, they need it now because they stopped filming, actually, for this season. They stopped in December, and they haven't had a paycheck since December. Okay? So, I asked if I could advertise her Patreon site, the Rescue's Patreon site, that is. I did not get a response, but what I am going to do instead is I'm going to suggest that if you feel like giving money to a great cause, which it is, they've done more for not just pit bulls, but dogs in general, but they've really educated the public as a whole about pit bulls, which is a much needed thing, and it's not over yet. There's a lot of work yet to do. So if you feel like donating to that cause, I would suggest you go to their website, which is LouisianaDogRescue.com. And on that website, they have links to like Patreon and PayPal and all these other ways that you can donate. And every little bit helps. So that's the main reason right there in a nutshell for me doing tonight's show. I am a pit bull owner myself. Actually, my boy, Nacho, the way I got him was I was working for One of a Kind Pet Rescue in Akron. And prior to me working there, he had been their office dog for 2 years because he couldn't live in kennel. His behavior was just off the charts, and he wouldn't eat, and he actually had 8 separate exploratory surgeries to remove bits of blanket out of his intestines because he couldn't handle living in a kennel. And then I started working there, and at first he didn't like me. He growled at me, barked at me, bared, his non-existent teeth at me because he doesn't have any except for his back molars. And it took me probably about 2 months of working there to win him over. And at first, I was just trying to win him over so I could work with the guy. Because I very quickly gained a reputation there as the go-to guy when animals misbehave or have behavior issues. I was essentially like their dog whisperer. And I worked there for a long time. About, I think, like 5 years total. 3 years, and I went somewhere else and then came back. Anyways, doesn't matter. Anyhow, so what happened was, every time I would pass by him, I'd give him a treat. And the office had like one of those barn doors where it opens top and bottom. And they'd leave the top open, but the bottom closed. So he'd put his paws on the bottom part. And I walk by and go, give me a high five. And he'd give me a high five, and then I'd give him a treat. And that was like our thing. And then eventually, my boss at the time, Marisa, said, hey, why don't you take him for a walk? So I did. And it went great. And then I started doing that. And then probably like 2 or 3 days after that, I took him out to like this enclosed playpen for the dogs. And there's like this concrete slab out there. And I sat down on that concrete slab, and he walked up to me and laid his head in my lap. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're coming home. And so I adopted him. And I've had him ever since. But because of his background, he is, first off, he's pit bull and bull mastiff mix, so he's pretty big. But because of his background, he was severely neglected by his previous owner, who was in the Navy. Actually, his previous owner was in the Navy. He something happened, though, because, he does not like people in uniform at all. And it doesn't matter what kind of uniform, it would be the postman, cop, UPS driver, any kind of uniform, he doesn't like it. And he doesn't like strangers. And he doesn't like dogs that are male that are bigger than he is. Or like the same size. They got to be a lot smaller, or they have to be female. And because of his behavior, I guess, his nacho-ness, he has evidently, and I don't know how, terrified the postman. And so now we don't get mail delivered here. At all. They absolutely refuse to deliver our mail, which, by the way, is bullshit. And I'm going to go public about this because there's no reason for this to happen. First off, my dogs are either inside or they're on a line in the backyard. Now, here's the thing. My girl dog, this actually happened with my girl dog, Sunny. She's a German Shepherd and Boxer, and we think Greyhound, too, because of the way she runs. There's like this line that runs alongside our driveway a little more than halfway down, which is still far enough away from the front of our house where mail would get delivered that she would be nowhere near this guy. But evidently, he came up our driveway and she went at him, not to hurt him. She is a super friendly dog. She loves everybody. But he sprayed her. And because of this one guy freaking out over nothing, number one, and quite honestly, coming up that far up my driveway means that he was fucking trespassing. Okay? Because it's nowhere near my mailbox. The only reason he would have come that way is if he was trying to cut through my driveway, because there's like kind of a fence, but it's not completely all the way down. So people cut through there going to this adjacent street, which is probably what he was trying to do. But it doesn't fucking matter because that's trespassing at that point. There's no reason for him to come up my driveway. Which is all besides the point because my dogs have never done anything to this guy. They barked at him, sure, because Nacho barks at every stranger that comes close to our house. Hell, they don't even have to be that close. He starts barking sometimes when somebody comes down the street and turns the corner at the bottom of the street. But so what? Barking isn't going to hurt you. So basically, we're getting screwed, not getting our bills when bills are due, because this fucktard did the wrong thing, and yet somehow my dogs are getting the blame for it. This is bullshit, and this is why the laws concerning dogs in general, primarily with the Postal Service, need to fucking change. Had no business coming up that far up my driveway. Period. So I even tried to fucking look for a way to get a hold of the Postmaster General to file a complaint. And even looking up that information, I dare you to fucking do it on Google. It's a fucking runaround. There's no phone number that you can call. There's an address, but it doesn't go to the Postmaster General. It goes to like his, I guess like his assistant or whatever. And there's no guarantee he'll ever see it. So what are my options? Well, I'll tell you. This podcast, for one. Secondly, I'm about to fucking piss them all off and go to the news. Because it's bullshit. Yes, my dog Nacho, if he had his way, he would take a chunk out of the mailman. There is no doubt. But he didn't spray Nacho. He sprayed Sonny, who loves every fucking buddy. And at most would have barked. This is why there needs to be changes in the laws. This is why people need to be fucking educated. Especially when they're in any kind of service industry like the Postal Service. Primarily since it's a fucking government institution. Now, I'm not saying you can't take precautions. I'm not saying you can't have spray on you in case a dog does actually try and attack you. But you need to know the difference between attack body language and come on, let's play, which I guarantee is the body language she fucking had, because that's the body language she has with every fucking buddy. So, yeah. Alright, there's my little tirade for this episode. There's too many ignorant people in the world. Every time that somebody does something cruel to an animal, you see it. You see it. How sick people are. And I could tell you stories from working in that rescue. I'm not going to. I will spare you that pain. But I've seen dogs under the worst of conditions. Like, unbelievable. Like, you would not even believe it. And I don't know who it was. I think it might have been Mark Twain, who said, if you want to see how a civilization is, watch how they treat their elderly. Well, I think that's somewhat true, but I think you need to also have it say, if you want to see how a civilization is, see how they treat their pets. See how they treat animals. Because the truth of the matter is using that as a social barometer, we're in big fucking trouble. I worked at a rescue for just about 5 years total. And that entire fucking time, we were at capacity almost all the time. I can think of one occasion over 5 years where we had a room that was empty for more than a week. And that right there should tell you everything you need to know. My dogs are my pride and joy. They are my fur babies. Nacho, the second I got him, we were living in an apartment, and they wouldn't let us have him. So I got this house. Let that sink in for a second. I got this fucking house so that I could have him. And yeah, he's got some issues, but you know what? He fucking loves me. And I've got issues too. I don't like fucking people. Most strangers, I don't like them. I'm not going to like them. Because honestly, people are fucking ignorant. And I don't need the drama. Now, having said that, of course, there are people that I fucking love. Because there's always exceptions to the rule. But I would burn down the fucking world over that dog. If somebody tried to hurt my boy, there wouldn't be a safe place on the planet. There would be nowhere they could hide because I would never stop looking. Which illustrates kind of my point. People always think that dogs are stupid or whatever. Oh, animals are dumb. So, let's say that's true. Does that mean that they're deserving of neglect and abuse? Because you see them as inferior? Say what you fucking want. But I've seen dogs more capable of love and forgiveness than anything. I was actually privy to a fucking rescue where a dog was beat every day. Every fucking day. And that dog got rescued, and it was still sad to be taken away from its owner. Because it still loved its owner. Explain to me, somebody please explain to me how we're better than they are. We should strive to be like that. Because there is not enough love and forgiveness in the world. Not with humans, anyways. So, I don't even know who this male guy is, honestly. I think I might have seen him once or twice, but I'm usually not home during the day. So, I don't know. But whoever he is, dude, you pissed off the wrong guy. And you mess with the wrong guy's dogs. It's that simple. I would love to work in a rescue again, to be honest with you. But I don't see that happening, not around here anyways. Because really, the only rescue, like, relatively close to my house would be one of a kind, and they fired me. Because evidently I called off too much or whatever. And I'm not going to get into that whole thing, and I'm not going to... Well, I will say this. It wasn't really my fault. Because it wasn't like I was calling off just to call off. I called off because one of my dogs died. And then there was like a change up in management, and they decided that, I wasn't worth keeping around. That's really what happened. But whatever. I wish there was another rescue that, was within my transportation range that I could go work for, but unfortunately, the next closest one is like too far away. So, unless I manage to win the lottery and can start my own, I'm SOL on that front. Alright, folks, I think that's about all I got tonight. Until next time, my pack, my tribe. Peace out.